Hmm?
Hello, everyone. I am Rihanna Ritter, the host of the Wandering podcast. I help women who are struggling with sexual and religious shame to process that and have better life outcomes as a result. And today, my guest is Anna Voznaya, and she helps women in their 30s who are facing fear and anxiety of uprooting their lives. Welcome, Anna.
Hello, very nice to see you and be here. Thank you.
Yes, so great to have you here. So, what inspired you to start your current career?
I moved to Portugal from Ukraine 4 years back in COVID, in lockdown, when the whole world was closed. And I love this country. Portugal is incredible. And I decided that, okay, I want a serious shift in my life. So I made it. And when I made it, I invested into a startup, became a co-owner of it. It was dedicated to studying mushrooms and how psilocybin affects mental issues. And my initial background and my uh, current position is highly related to high tech, to informational technology, to growing related business. So I knew uh, zero to very little about agriculture as a business, about mushrooms in particular, about mental disorders. But I was like curious and reading a lot because back to 2020, that was a hot topic. And I started digging into that because we cooperated here with the Universidade de Lisboa to create a research and development center and roll out those studies, because it's very easy to swallow antidepressant. It's not very easy to get the root cause of the issue and figure what exactly is going on and actually deal with that rather than to mitigate side effects, which depression is, as I know, believe, and continue proving. That's the pre-story. The story is when I moved, I was anxious a lot because my whole life changed. I wanted that shift. It happened. And at the same time, since I wasn't really ready, I literally changed it all. I changed it in those times where nothing was certain. Plus, I put myself into complete uncertainty because I didn't know Portuguese. I didn't know how this country works. I never lived in a village in mountains where we grew those mushrooms. I never had experience dealing with those kind of places. I never dealt with that lot of just basic issues like warming my house up with apparently the woods, because Portugal is nicely shining. Well, sometimes, not everywhere, and not in autumn, not in mountains, as I find out where I moved, not beforehand. So I was all anxious, seriously. And since I've got some coaching preparing beforehand, I obviously started like dealing with own anxiety by myself because I've got into circumstances that weren't come nicely shining anyhow. No, I was terrified, literally. A lot of new things, everything was new. I was the only one not talking Portuguese, not speaking Portuguese in the area of maybe, I don't know, 150 kilometers around. And the new the main area, a lot of studies. I needed to not only survive there, I needed to make it all happen. And uh, to me, like if I started something, there's no way back. That's it. There's only moving forward. So a couple of first months, they were like highly anxious, let me put it like that. And the more I digged into how nervous systems work and how brain works in particular, the more I became fascinated, and the more I obviously worked with myself, on myself, and started, rolled that startup and so forth. And it kind of led me into Harvard neuroscience, into becoming neurotransformational coach, and into like combining it with my consulting practices. It's like not only I chose that, but that's my significant change in life that I want to serve to others. That I want that to serve to others, yes. Because
Yeah.
yeah, and I figured that, okay, let me deep into anxiety now, after 4 years of active practice, active learning, active working with, others and on myself, digging into mental disorders deeper. And let me choose that major shift in life, also moving to other countries because it's very mm, common just now, and it's going to be more common, I do believe so. And regardless of circumstances, like whether you chose country or you did not, whether like you had excellent life at home and decided to make a move like I did, or you wanted something better, regardless of those circumstances, moving to other countries, especially for the first time, that's a stressful thing, highly
Yes.
stressful.
Extremely. And so there's a few things that you've said so far. So you wanted a change, a major change. So that
Mhm,
was what inspired you to move. Then
mhm,
you meet this person and you end up learning about psilocybin mushrooms and neurology. So that's
mhm,
kind of like a very interesting direction for your life to take. Plus, you're having to learn languages
mhm,
and you have the courage to make the move to begin with, knowing not at all what you're going to get into. And then also you get there and you're feeling highly anxious, it's very stressful, and you're committed and you're
mhm,
not going backward. And so how does a person become that type of person? Because a lot of people would never deal with that level of fear. Like either you had something that was really driving you toward
mhm,
healing, and put these beautiful things in your path so that you could heal something, or you had been raised to just be this incredibly courageous person, or a blend of that. So I'm curious how you became
mhm.
the type of person that could do all of this.
Yeah, a bit of craziness has been always there, honestly. Let's call it courage, yes, because that's true, that I do believe that whatever change we're making, we need courage with us. Because like, look, if you go from point A to point B, when the route is not that clear and point B is not guaranteed, that's already requiring some courage. So, yeah, probably my personality is kind of eager to achieve, to explore, to try, to have couple of lives in one, honestly. But that's now I can say so. When I was in progress, I was somewhere on my basics. Like, okay, let me at least survive. The rest we're gonna talk later. And
Yeah.
the first option that you mentioned, how to become so, I do believe that's a skill, honest. I don't think any of us, we were born like that, Mariana. I truly believe so, that we're getting those skills over time. And I consider them really important in life to be able to make those changes, to allow ourselves to get more different, to get out of where we are. And my life was perfectly fine. Back to Ukraine in Kiev, it's all been sorted well, everything was good. It's just when COVID started and it influenced my plans also, and I couldn't travel anymore, and I actually was traveling a lot always. And I figured like, okay, I got to do something else then. And I remember that my own coach, she asked me, I told her, everything's great. Okay, this COVID will something happen with that. She asked me, okay, now imagine your life is going to be as great as it is just now, but in 5 years, you're in the same apartment, your work is the same, you are the same in 5 years. Everything's pretty cool, like you just told me. And I told her, everything's literally really good. And I remember my feeling, even my body reaction. I kind of catch the armchair that I was sitting on with my just arms, and I felt like no way in 5 years I'm gonna be the same. I'm gonna be in the same place doing the same things. No way, like literally. And to me, that's important to try other things when I'm good, not when something happens and that makes me go ahead and try something else or get out of something. I think it's not very common because I do believe our organism basically requires comfort, wants comfort. Our brain wants us safe. You sit on the couch, stay where you are, you're going to be fine. Just don't waste your resources. Be maybe not that awesome, but clear. That's just how we made. But it doesn't mean that we don't want something else. And I do believe we all dare to want more, different, better, just because we evolve as human beings, as personalities. That's also natural. And that's the tricky thing on how to hack the brain so it could serve our evolution and not prevent it. So me staying where I was would be like sabotage of my evolution, would have been. And I don't believe I can afford that to myself. I don't even want to. Yes, I could make things easier, probably, but that would mean spending probably more time, uh, something like that. And it's also a valuable resource. So my point is now to focus on the anxiety, yes, that women in their 30s, as I am, experience after moving, so that could hit them less than it hit me and it hit them just now, because it's possible. Because it is possible to deal with nervous system, with brain, to still go for major changes in life, but to have anxiety serve us, not let us be exhausted by that, which is
Yes.
highly probable, yeah, because it's resource consuming thing, this anxiety. You never know, and sometimes it's our basic state, and there's nothing normal in it. There is nothing good in any state that exhausts us. That's abnormal to the organism,
Yeah, yes. And so many people believe that their anxiety is caused by their outer circumstances. And certainly in your case, when you make a major change or like you uproot your life and move to a different country, there are outer circumstances that are unknown and new. However, our emotions and our thoughts begin within ourselves. So, what are your go-to methods for managing anxiety?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, admit that here it is, and admit that I really waste my energy to that. I waste myself, my time to that. So I'm doing a research on that matter just now, and someone told me, like, imagine I have 3 years to achieve something, to get a goal, to, for example, move to another country. I have 3 years to assimilate, learn the language, get the job, get myself comfortable, right? That's a process. That's not like one day it just there. No, you're kind of working on that. Now imagine the third part out of those 3 years is spent to deal with anxious feeling anxious. How's that? It's like such a wasting of our powers. And
Right.
this lady, yeah, she was so right. And from looking from this perspective, like admitting that, yes, I feel anxiety and I don't have to, first of all. Second, hey, like what does it want from me? what am I doing so I am anxious? What exactly caused that? Or I lived like that forever and it's like my normal. So question it, question what's going on actually? What's the root cause? Because usually when we're anxious, we're like in this closed circle, a closed circle of anxiety, like running around and like, oh, and there is no way out. And that's exactly the point, admitting that you're in this circle and figuring what exactly going, what am I doing that or not doing that I feel like that. And so I waste myself a lot to deal with that. Where is that closed circle? Exactly how to eliminate it, maybe make it like stand alone, and then continue questioning it, like which information is there for me, like what exactly, if I'm out of circle, at least a little, just a bit, because I do believe we can work with the system when we're out of system, and if we're inside, it's a little bit problematic. So by eliminating it and questioning it, like, okay, which information is there for me, we at least can look at it a little bit from the outside and figure where's, usually that's lack of clarity. Which clarity can we bring into this anxious circle to have it less bothering for us? Because we're anxious because of unknown, because of uncertainty, because we're not sure what's going to be, how it's going to be. And after moving to a new country, it's related to pretty much everything. Where I gotta live, where I gotta eat, where's my favorite coffee, whether I gotta receive documents or not, where's my clothes or something. When I moved, honestly, I moved to the hot country and it appeared to not be that hot, apparently. And my winter clothes, like they got stuck on customs, and the reminder was COVID, so the delivery didn't work well. And I lived in mountains in a village where Amazon, they don't deliver there. They don't. And I'm like, what am I, come on, what am I supposed to do? And honestly, this is how this skill of being more resilient to those circumstances where you're anxious, more anxious, more anxious, more issues, less clarity, more things to solve, less options to use. That's all about those anxious circles. The more clarity you're getting there, somehow clarifying what exactly you still can do, the less anxious you are. The less anxiety eats you, really. And
so you mentioned awareness as one step, and then kind of detaching from it or becoming the observer of it, recognizing that it is not your identity. It's just thoughts or circumstances. And then that gives you the space to bring in clarity, or do you do something? Do you meditate? Do you journal? How do you get to those spots where you can detach and kind of?
Yeah, I kind of question it. Meditation is always a powerful thing, I guess. But in terms of anxiety, look, I look at myself and actually every human being systematically. I don't think there's one algorithm and that's it. Like we're listing particular points. Yeah, I question anxiety, like, okay, which information and how to, then the fourth step is how to bring clarity in there. What can I really do to kind of feel better? But that's like technical algorithm, 100% working. But another thing is like, take highly anxious person and suggest this algorithm to them, and take less anxious person in circumstances of like having a lot of reasons to be anxious, and get this algorithm in there. And you're gonna get two different outcomes because we're not the same. Our sensitivity is different. I'm highly sensitive, speaking of. some people are less, some people have really different circumstances, and it's not very easy just to get them technical algorithm, and that's it. That's why a system supposed to exist as our basic routine, a system of working with ourselves, with our nervous system. And then it implies what you just mentioned: meditation, physical practices, breathing exercises, supporting of this natural resistance of the organism, where your brain is able to operate with neocortex and not only emotional part of things where anxiety lies. So we could then use this technical algorithm at all, because when we're highly anxious, and it's almost like panic attack. The suggestion of technical algorithm is kind of not really like best suggestion ever. So it matters what else does a person do. And why I'm doing this research and why I narrow it down to ladies who moved like I did. Well, because that's also about bringing maturity in life. I really believe so. We're growing up through those circumstances. And either anxiety serves us in this process as a fuel when we have this system of working with our nervous system, because someone hates meditation, right? Like hates.
I hear that all the time.
Oh, there we go. You see?
It's so hard.
I can hear that all the time. We can obviously talk about like which type of meditation, what exactly, maybe there's other options and so forth. But still, which system of working with nervous system exists in the life of a person who is anxious at all, if there's anything? Okay, let's then grow it a little bit. So we could have certain bases, build it actually. If there is none of them, for example, let's build it from the basics. And it lies in very basics. It's food, it's sleeping. There is nothing new, because usually when people are anxious, okay, they stop sleeping, they have food disorders, they gain weight or they lose weight. They maybe had that regular routine, but in new circumstances, they stop paying attention to that because they overspend energy to anxiety. Anxiety overconsumes that. So they drop those basics, and that's exactly where they should not. So I would pay attention to those basics and actually build them in the simplest possible way. Usually, if there's nothing, just give me a magic pill just now. My suggestion is to go to breathing exercises, breathing exercises. Because this is not meditation that you need to focus yourself, and if you're anxious, it's kind of problematic a bit. But that's physical activity, but you don't have to think there, but you don't also have to go for tight physical activity, sweat a lot. For example, we can get there with time being. Let's at least apply breathing exercises and calm down ourselves just a bit, reload this nervous system just a bit, so we could at least see what's around, and yes, make this anxious circle as standalone as it's possible. And then we can talk. Then we can, yeah.
So it sounds like whatever technique a person needs to use to get back into their body and pull their focus maybe less of the thoughts in their mind, and like breathing exercises, physical activity. Some people meditation works, some people journaling works, but it depends on your personality type, right? And what naturally takes you more present into your body and less identified with the thoughts going on in your head.
True. Yeah, we all need short-term immediate solutions and long-term, and that's not either or. We need them both. We need short-term solution when we're highly anxious just now to at least make it through it. But at the same time, we've got to pursue a long-term solution, because honestly, I don't really believe in short-term solutions, because to me, that's antidepressant, whatever other pill. That's it, and you gotta swallow that regularly, but that's not what your organism wants, requires. That's not the information that anxiety brings to us. That's not a way out, actually. That's just a slight, mitigation of the state itself. That's it.
Yeah, that's just like your immediate solution to get yourself out of the thought loop. And then you want to move into something that is finding the root cause of why you're in that thought loop.
Yeah.
And maybe you're addressing belief systems or
And that's
what.
the most interesting part now, and why I'm also doing this research with ladies at 30s, because they're mature enough already to grow up well, pretty well already. They've got some life experience over their 20s. They actually made a move already, and obviously that's most likely the time when they question their life themselves. This is to those beliefs, obviously, but also to lots of, well, pain. Let me put it in this way. Lots of fears, lots of things that just happen. We swallow that somehow, move forward, but that still affects us. And since by 30s, there is enough of those occasions, this anxiety reaches the highest level, especially after extra stressful factor happening, like the movement in our case. And I remember that completely, like you're trying to make it all in new circumstances where nothing is clear and everything's terrifying. And at the same time, your past still kind of requires some overthinking. And so you overthink on top of overthink. And I mean, the resource is supposed to be gotten from somewhere at least. And if there's no or not enough of those basic works with nervous system, then where would we get energy? It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you see, that's even anti-physics law kind of. And in my case, in those mountains, I remember the shifting point for me was like, okay, what's good in there? There should be something good in there. And it cannot be that everything is just, well, horrible. And
Yeah.
there should be at least something, because otherwise, why did I move at all? And the simplest nature, what was like the natural part was the simple answer to that question, because it was absolutely amazing there. Well, yes, cold, wet, and all the rest, but now imagine little village in nice mountains, all those eucalyptus, all those hills, and I was jogging there to not go nuts, honestly, and not to get cold or that lot. I was just jogging there on the hills, and honestly, it smells so good. It looks so pretty. You can see how the nature changes daily, how the lights change, what's going on. And I'm a city person. I never lived in village. To me, like putting fire at home to get warm, that's like, oh my God, my wildest thing happened to seriously, I was so shocked. And to everyone, it's like, oh, that's so romantic. Go.
Oh, it's a bit of work. It's that's so funny because I am kind of had the opposite experience. Like in my early 20s, I grew up in the mountains, very small mountain town, and we used wood stoves to we had heat, but we used the wood stove mostly because it was a lot less expensive and
Mhm.
there was plenty of wood. And I was fleeing an abusive relationship, and I moved to the city of Long Beach. So I was still in my country, but the cultural differences between Lake Tahoe and Long Beach are pretty significant. So luckily, I didn't have to learn a new language, but
Mhm.
I there were so many unknowns, as you're saying, that when I arrived there and I looked around, it I mean, the city was overwhelming to me. It was so chaotic, so big, so many people, so many places to go, and different types of people. Like where I was living, there was really just like white people. There were, you know, we were all kind of similar, like similar socioeconomic status. There
Mhm.
wasn't really any diversity, and Long Beach was just, it's near Los Angeles. It's
Mhm.
totally diverse and huge. And so I
Yeah.
was in like total shock, and I went into a depression pretty quickly, like, but then riding the city bus around, just
Mhm.
to just to get familiar with the town instead of driving because I didn't want to get lost. Um, just having to recognize that I'm going into depression right now and I don't have the time or space for that because
Mhm.
I don't know where I'm at and I don't know what's going to happen and I need to actually start taking action to take care of myself. Um,
Mhm.
so there are some people who would say that a woman who does that, or even a person who does that, people who just like backpack around the world, there are a lot of people who say, well, that's just crazy. And those of us who would do it are like, no, we just kind of want to have an adventure and like the full human experience and see the world. Right. So, how do you, so when you're in a situation like that, how do you find the balance between pursuing your goals and ensuring you're taking care of your mental and emotional health?
Mm. I wish to answer that in one sentence or something, but I want to say you don't actually. You're not that balanced. You gotta rebalance yourself. You gotta really rebalance your whole self because your whole life changed.
Mhm.
Like, and your example is excellent. And you see, you kind of raised the bar, right? So you got well, other circumstances, your organism is no less stress, of course, but still you raise the bar. My bar got so low, and I was anxious that, oh my God, how I was so comfortable, and now what is this? And at the same time, you see, in both cases, you're inventing, you're balancing in new way all over again. Yeah, it might sound like why to face that at all, but I do
Right.
believe that how else would it happen, and how else would you grow, and how else would you actually explore your different sides, your different selves? How would you evolve if the circumstances are the same, or they changed not dramatically but well somehow? I believe that unless you make it, well, life would make it with you.
Yeah.
Yes. And I prefer to okay, whoa, let me do it by myself. I'm a student. I'm not waiting for like slaps to get kicked out of the country or a state or something to face a necessity to do that. I honestly prefer to go for something even like tough, even those changes are not very well nicely shining, but still, if you're really focused on rebalancing yourself, it takes a couple of months. If you're made to do so, that might take years or forever. No jokes.
Oh, well, yeah,
Serious.
because there's a lot of resistance when that happens because you're resisting the change. When you're pursuing the change, you're more open to seeing what you're made of and to seeing all the different facets of your own personality and really getting to know yourself. But when you're
Right?
thrown into it, you're kind of, you go into it with a victim mentality. Like,
Oh,
why
yeah.
is this happening to me? How could I? And then there's all this resistance to accepting what is. Like what you said before is that you were noticing like all the beauty that is in those mountains that you live in, like how it smells when you willingly stretch yourself and go into expansion. You
Hmm?
start to focus on the gifts that are there and you're not in a victim mentality as much.
Yeah, like never, better never to, honestly. Because how does it help, especially with anxiety? How does it help? It just you're getting deeper into that with victimization of the circumstances and own self. But why would you? That's just giving your power like out, and you don't have them much in those circumstances. It's kind of better to manage a little bit. And yeah, switch and focus. That's also, I'm still replying to this question, how to get balance. That's a process, you see. You're not having it, you're reinventing it. You're using what's been working, like physical exercise, breathing exercises, meditation. If you had it all those basic, you sleep on time, you don't drink, honestly. That's important. Last month, I released an ebook, 28 brain hacks. Everyone's very welcome to download and follow, if not all 28, but well, some of them, because just covering what we gotta face with alcohol, for example, will only stretch this period of time full of anxiety. And we are looking for all the way around. How about that balance, you see? Not easy, no easy solution is going to be taken. I truly believe so. Unless we are going to live forever and we are ready to just waste this life.
Mhm. Yeah.
And switching focus just a bit. Okay, here's something like, well, not really well done, clear, not going as per any plan if you had any at all. But what's good in there? In my case, there was nature, nothing else. And afterwards, I've got new people. Afterwards, I've got to strength, like raise my strengths a bit, not bring it back. I don't think we're bringing anything back to the question of balance. You cannot bring your previous balance to your new kind of life circle.
Oh, right, right.
But why would you do that? It's gone
Yeah.
already. I mean, it's even weird probably that in new circle it wouldn't work even. So you gotta invent, and for inventing this new balance, I also think that this shift in focus of the focus is supposed to happen only to the new things, really new things that you might not have noticed ever before if you had
Yeah.
that. And so this is, yeah, extension is a good word over here. You extend your perception of things. And so this is where you're not only noticing something nice and cool and follow it, you're also seeing more options to get out of this anxious circle. And when you're writing, you don't have options. Circle
Mhm.
is your only option. And that terrifies only more and it exhausts only more. We're looking for another thing, especially in like questions of balance. That's also, a lot about um, not catching this past at all, not keeping it, admitting that, okay, past is gone, that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing. There
Yeah.
is.
I mean, you can accept the what you've learned from the past, but we don't spend our time ruminating over it.
Mhm. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, honestly. Even if that's the most precious past ever. And I actually remember one of those calls with my parents who were like in normal conditions, no fire needed, uh, horrible weather has been mitigated by proper, well, home and not like mountain house, which was kind of pretty, but absolutely, well, low on quality, let me put it like that, and stuff like this. And the willingness to roll back, to use the ticket back or something, was there, I gotta confess. But is it worth it
Mhm.
to just keep the past? I don't think so. Create the present instead and make sure that, okay, in these new circumstances, how would I comfort myself till the level that maybe I not used, but maybe I don't need that level of comfort that I had before. And that's to the point of question the anxiety, which information, maybe you don't need that coffee. I literally like, I'm a coffee kind of maniac. I like a really good one. In that village, I didn't have any. I had horrible, and afterwards, this COVID stuff, it closed all the well, little pastelerias here in Portugal. These are coffee places. At least I had horrible. Then I had nothing, literally. And to me, that was, oh my God, even no coffee. I gotta stop drinking it, honestly. And then my landlord from the neighborhood house, he was brewing for me and bringing for me. And honestly, that felt like the best blessing ever, just because it stopped making that lot of sense for me, because that was a questioning value from the past. Like my life is not about coffee, actually. There are other values, goals, like levels of comfort that are not necessarily having to apply what I got used to. Like simple example of it's nice to have. This is not something I'm gonna die without or something like that.
Yes.
And when you move, you have thousands of those little examples, not one, a lot, too many.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
would really,
It's
yeah, if they matter at all, if they really matter, really, or maybe we're wasting ourselves again, our energy to those past habits that are not available anymore. You see?
yeah. It's easy to get really attached to anything, really. We can get attached to anything and believe that our inner peace, our happiness
Mhm.
is dependent on having or doing or being that thing. And every time we go through a major change, we find out, nope,
Mhm.
most of the stuff that I've ever had has never been what
Mhm.
has sustained my life, let alone my happiness.
And there we go. External things, they don't make us. External things, they don't make us. Internal, they do. These
Yeah.
are values, these are threads, this is what we can really do. These are our decisions, these are our commitments, our views on ourselves and our life. There's nothing external. If we take external things as primarily ones, well, let's talk when we lose them, then what? You see?
Mhm.
And I'm putting there when, because it happens.
When, yes.
Yeah, because that's to the point, unless we go for changes, life will make us change. So I would question everything that we got used to from those external things. And afterwards, once we have them again, for example, we might not even want anymore. When I
Mhm.
got the pack of winter clothes, finally, after custom, I didn't need them anymore. I managed to, well, buy all, everything quickly somewhere. And when I
Yeah.
got it, and it was just after maybe 2.5 or 3 months of me being in Portugal after the actual movement, I didn't want them. I didn't like them. It felt like they're so, old or they don't work for me anymore. I don't want to wear them. Not everything,
Yeah.
but majority of that, I gave it to, those people who kind of need something in life because I was not that person anymore. But I felt like that. I felt like, I don't know, like homeless, something, somewhere where in the bottom. Uh, just
Yeah.
couple of months major transformation can take just couple of months. Even on the scale of our life, this is nothing. Yes, these are hard months, a lot, but why to stretch them? Let's stretch our perception of things better and refocus them. And this is how we're getting a new balance in our new life cycle, in new circumstances, without rolling back, without, like you're saying, keeping this attachment with us forever for whatever external that is not, for example, available to us anymore. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
not not simple, not anyhow simple, totally doable. Better to
Yes.
have a system, much better to have basics with you because you can move wherever with your morning yoga and stuff like that. That's not conditional anyhow. If that's not there, well, let's build it. That's okay because the amount of the decisions to make, things to clarify, uncertainty to make it through is huge. It's not going to be lower anyhow, even regardless you're gonna move or not. So having a skill to be resilient to that, to deal with anxiety, to have it transformed as a fuel for our own transformation. These
Yeah.
are those things that I consider as highly important to have in our arsenal of skills. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how do you define success in your life now? How has that changed over time?
Mm. That's still a complex thing. That's not one thing. Success is not like owning company, selling company, owning certain amount of figures. in bank account, not having them. So, that's all in one. Success to me and happiness, actually, that's a complex thing where you have it all, meaning you have health, including mental health. You have a flexibility to choose what you gotta do with your life, actually, and not only a strict plan and that's it. That maybe you did not create it even. That's personal life and personal relationship. That's self-actualization, which is never one-time thing. That is changing over time, just because again we're growing and we're evolving. That's of course being financially as independent as it's possible from at least one source of income, meaning independent of one source of income, because these are your risks afterwards, because in circumstances of moving, for example, money would hurt you. They will not, like at all.
Right.
Yeah, like really not sure on those expenses, and it's better to have what to rely on in there. That's bringing our own self to the level of maturity, where we can make it, where we really can make it, and we can choose what exactly we are to make as much as it's possible, because there is always going to be something going on. In Portugal today, 5 a.m., we had earthquake, my first earthquake in life. There's,
Wow.
yeah, something's going to be always going on. It's a matter of how dependent and vulnerable you are or not. And to see that and to show it to your own anxiety, for example, you got to systematically pursue set of actions. A majority of them that's working with your own nervous system, and that's just a routine like brushing your teeth, seriously. And other actions towards your profession, your work, your hobbies, your relationship with people, your community or lack of community. And all of those are variables, I think. They are not constant things. Because today you want to, yeah, today you want to deal with anxiety in a couple of years, you gotta want to move forward, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe anxiety will stop existing. I would hope. And that's what I'm working for. Maybe it won't affect us so bad, so there will be nothing to work with. But at the same time, our own skills, our own maturity staying with us forever, and that is success. So success to have own nervous system set and constantly maintained till the level that all those variables part, like profession, relationship, the friends, job, finance, and all the rest, you got to manage that, having options, allowing yourself to have an option, seeing those options actually, and creating them also. And this is not one thing, oh, now I'm successful. Well, maybe we all are successful just now. You see,
I think, yeah, we're all successful at something right now, right?
yeah, yeah. Plus it's a process, because it's never a one thing. And I remember really well when I had certain definitions of success. They were applying some buying properties, for example, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was in my early 20s. I bought that apartment, my first apartment in Kiev. I felt nothing. I was going to this, yeah, for some years. I was working to get it. I thought that would be a success and happiness also. I felt nothing. I don't want to put myself in that. I want to choose my success. And from what I can see, that's you, yourself, and options to deal with everywhere in every area of your life. That's why it's a complex thing. It's not one thing. And it's never one thing in life. It's like, what's your destiny? What's the goal of your life or something? All these questions, there's you cannot answer them with one thing only, and that's gonna
No.
be till the rest of your life. No, it's fast-paced world. And the more we evolve ourselves in this world, the more successful we're going to be. And that always goes with the usage of our basics, dealing with our own nervous system and maturity, and allowing and creating ourselves set of options. That's it.
I love the couple of words that you used at the beginning: flexibility, financial independence, and options. Like,
Mhm.
and knowing that you're going to change. And so you can have a definition of success now that is different tomorrow. And so if you know, can have enough love for yourself that you believe that that's okay, you know that that's okay, then you'll have a lot more happiness and a lot less anxiety, because you won't be judging yourself for not meeting somebody else's expectations that are, you know, really more for them or based on fear.
For
Um,
example,
go ahead.
with certain level of maturity, that stops mattering at all, I would say, because I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I can say so, but we're all in shit once we moved, and so deep miserable shit. Oh my God! I mean, what they can say that, oh, you're so miserable. Well, okay, thank you. That's obvious for me as well. Let's see what's gonna happen in a couple of months and then in a couple of years maybe. But anyways, that was my choice, and I'm dealing with that. And that's my
Yes.
responsibility. That's my life afterwards. And being able to go for being a little bit miserable and then making it through and getting to another height, that's even natural process that every time you're taking the next what kind of stage circle in life, it all starts with the very bottom. And it feels such a
Mm-hmm.
bottom, but it's only like it's a matter of what you're doing with that. Whether that's eating you, killing you, then that's it, regardless of like you chose that or it happened, or you're dealing with that in certain way where your own focus is getting switched to the novelty, which is highly like counterintuitive,
Yeah.
highly, yeah, out of basic brain algorithms. And so we're dealing with ourselves. We're not dealing with world circumstances. No, with our own head.
Yeah. I think it's intuitive. I think it's counter cultural programming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That, because
Yeah.
every culture would probably, will tell you to stay at home and continue being where you are, and that's pretty much it. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's what life is about, especially now. I don't think so. Not
I don't
anymore.
think so either. Yeah. Stay in the tribe, stay local, and follow the traditions. And it's like, maybe if that's your personality type, if that's but it just isn't mine. Um
Yeah.
doesn't
That,
sound like
that
it's yours.
And most likely, like parents or grandparents would recommend something like that just because their life was more settled. But well, some of their advices are obviously very highly important and match and everything, but not 100% of them, just because they
Yeah.
grew up in different circumstances, and that's it. And the the earlier they're gonna admit that they have nothing to recommend to us, and we're gonna accept that we can only love each other and maybe share something, and that's it. But we shouldn't actually advise them how to live, how to deal with their life, and they should not do that as well if we're, 18 plus. The
Right.
the earlier we are to get out of this attachment, which might not necessarily serve us at all.
Right. Right.
And that's also that maturity part of that. That's with this example I catch in the past, seriously. Someone I remember, I was 30 years old when I moved to Portugal. That wasn't my first move, but that was the most radical, let me put it like that. And someone told me, so what your parents told you on that decision or something? It made me laugh actually, because obviously they were a little bit like, well, worrying, like parents worry about their child, but this child is 30 years old, what we're talking about at all. What should
Yes.
I ask about permission or something? That's not how it works. And yeah, yeah, that's just funny. There are a lot of these funny things from, yes, cultural well views on how the life's supposed to be. But again, the earlier we are able and train ourselves and get this maturity to decide for ourselves and stay responsible for our decision, the better, interesting, more resilient our lives going to become. And I think that is success. Well, this is such a success already to make our life so.
Yeah, I mean, some parents are very good at allowing their children to differentiate, and
Mhm.
other parents are not. Like when you think about cultures that have their boys go on walkabout, for example, just like go find yourself, and then
Mhm.
we've got in the US, our parents are like, you're going to finish school, you're going to go to college, then you're going to probably follow in your one of your parents' footsteps and choose a career that they approve of. And so that's not allowing that differentiation to happen. And then
Yeah.
our children grow up highly dissatisfied and they can't figure out why. Well, they don't know who they are. They were never given the space
Mhm.
to experience themselves,
Mhm.
to learn anything about themselves.
Yeah, not every kid will go and take this. Parents might not give it, but you gotta also take it. And this is to your initial saying, like how to become so. Well, yes, probably my level of not even craziness, that's a joke, obviously.
Yeah.
My willingness to like explore, to see, to try, to get experience, to know things, that was something that for sure 100% my parents brought in me by just giving me a certain books maybe, because that's all about pretty basic education, but they were curious all the time, and so I am. But the rest you build on top of that by yourself. I don't believe someone can give you a life framework. I don't think so. But and that's not parents, just because their framework are so different from ours.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but having a
They're,
system in place, system of different options and works by ourselves, that's a necessity, I think. Uh,
yeah, absolutely. And
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 this is,
sometimes we have to recognize that our our design,
Mhm.
our blueprint for coming to earth in a human body, just because we came out of our parents' bodies and their DNA is in us doesn't mean that we have the same blueprint as them. We've
Mhm.
designed completely differently. So um, you get
Yeah.
families that call somebody a black sheep, and it's like, no, they have a different design. And if you could accept that and help it flourish, you wouldn't have all these disagreements. But people are so afraid of people being different.
Mhm. Yeah, or maybe like they want their parents to kind of approve their decisions and stuff like that. Look, these are all normal things because these are our parents, our close people. It's obviously we want them to kind of be okay with us and vice versa. So that could be a relationship fulfilling, each part actually. It's just if they cannot understand your differentiality, and my parents, they cannot get me at all. They can only love. That's it. Because their life is so much different. Their life patterns are very different. They stopped even trying. And honestly, I appreciate them to not preventing me.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
least don't mess up. You cannot get, okay, don't mess up then. Don't prevent, don't create impediments. And that would be fair. Again, if like you're 18 plus, move forward. That's it. Even earlier, probably. And that's regardless of like whether you were born or raised with this curiosity, courage, and everything, you're going to face it anyways. You're going to. I don't think you can avoid that. But the sooner you gotta get it and get excited and like using that, the more mature you're going to be to have whatever options in life. Because this is not a magic and esoteric and metaphysics only that, oh, you're going to create your life, just visualize it every day and you're going to get there. Okay, with all the respect, you got to do a lot of things also, not only visualize, and that's it. It's only one of those practices. You got to act. And for acting, for making those changes in action, you need skills. And to have those skills, well, probably no one's supposed to mess up with them. Otherwise, you're just doing double work. Why to do double work? you see. And there are different setups at families and everything, but afterwards it's only your life. And only you're responsible for that, not your parents anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Having radical accountability for your own happiness is part of healing. It's kind of where you find forgiveness for people,
Not a,
forgiveness, a lot of self-forgiveness, because a lot of times we're highly reactive to what other people are doing, but it turns out that what they're doing is not necessarily what is making us feel how we're feeling. Again, our feelings originate within us. So um, it's to find real happiness in life, I think radical self-accountability and self-love, self-acceptance are the beginning of that. And so many of us have to go way backwards um, to clear out the foundational things that don't work for us and build from there a strong
yeah, you're
foundation.
right. Yeah. Practical question would be how to stop like hating ourselves or something that, oh my God, I'm in those circumstances and the rest. Well, it's all about actions, and that's all about changes, and that's all about like what you're doing or what you're not. All this self-love, it doesn't happen to you. You're making it.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
realizing it's a process. You're getting there. It's not like yesterday I had questions to myself and now I'm so cool. No, you're building. That's a skill also. And you're gonna show from the very beginning, you're gonna show it with your words to yourself. You're gonna achieve
Yes.
certain things. And then you can see, okay, I can do that. Wow. So probably I can do more. Probably I dare to even want more and go and do more. And again, and again, and again. And then you're constantly using those skills. So there's not even tiniest thought in the head that you're not worth something and that you're not enough of something or whatever else, because here's my life, I build it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And then,
when you stop self-abandoning by like denying what you want to do because you're too scared, um, you start actually taking the action of like setting boundaries in relationships or going and trying a thing that you were sure you were going to fail at and you do it anyway and you fail and you still feel awesome because you had the courage to do it, and then you try it again and then you don't fail. That's that's how you learn to love yourself, when you allow yourself to fail and let that all that judgment go and all that attachment to how it's going to turn out the first time, and accept that you're always a work in progress, and that is the beauty of life, that is the fun of life.
yeah, absolutely. And then what is failure? Let's determine what is failure. I can consider all this startup thing that I've mentioned from the very beginning as a major failure, honestly. But look how many secondary benefits I've got out of that. Could I have planned that anyhow by just going to a complete unknown? No, I could
Right.
not. So is it failure? Because the startup, we closed it already, doesn't exist. Is it failure? Well, technically, yes, I guess. It didn't bring me my billions or something like that.
Failure
You know,
according to who,
yes,
yeah.
that's the same with success. Let's determine what's the definition of success. And failure that led me to what I'm doing just now, and it literally did, because I was as far from neuroscience and higher ed education and all the rest, and practicing it and getting people out of mental issues. And I was as far as it's possible. It all brought me deeply in, yes, through startup activities that are all over, and thank God, because I don't really want to deal with that anymore, but I have a major experience dealing with agriculture in the middle of nowhere. And I'm an IT person. I never, I've never dealt with like real life business. Everything's highly digital around me. Like it's always been like that.
Oh,
So
that's a big shift, like actual agriculture. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Me and farming, come on, that's very funny. Uh, yeah, but still, I couldn't have imagined that. That's why sometimes I question all those visualization practices when we're talking about really serious new cycles in life, because we might not even be able to imagine that.
Oh yeah, usually the gifts that come out of something, everything that comes out of it is so far beyond what we could have imagined. But I
Exactly.
do think visualization is useful in giving yourself the space to look at what you want instead of filling your head with the repetitive thoughts that happen to already be there, and uh, taking other people's advice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to just get in touch with what you really want and your own inner wisdom that's going to kind of guide you forward on how to get there. But you can't just sit and visualize, like you said. That's not going to that's not going to get it done.
Yeah, not gonna get the job done. That's true.
You have to face your fears and do the scary things that you really don't want to do.
Right. And honestly, it's all scary till it's done. Every,
Exactly.
everything new is pretty scary. And even those things like documents in new country, dealing with police here, dealing with fines, dealing with registrations and stuff that you don't get how it works actually. And all those people, lawyers, other special people, they might be helpful, but the responsibility is still yours. Because sometimes people say, I don't even want to know what's going on with my taxes. I have the coolest accountant ever. And afterwards, like, oops, you know,
Yeah.
and you're the one who's paying.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very easy to like stay scared and not go for clarity or pretend that you've got clarity by using someone else, even highly qualified services, paying them and everything. You gotta just understand that the result and outcome is still yours. It's on you. That's it. So you better at least get into basics. That's speaking of one of those anti-anxiety points. Go learn stuff. You gotta learn a lot. But afterwards, you're not sure which other risks you mitigate for yourself, financial, those taxation and stuff like that. Yeah, you gotta be on top of those things, I think, at least on basic level. Because if like it's like close your eyes and pray for your accountants, I mean, you might be very surprised at some point.
Yeah.
It is
Yes. You do
not
have to pay
how.
attention.
Yeah,
Yes.
plus you, I think we can just not choose our fears because they're always going to be with us. That's normal because some
Yeah.
things are really scary. And afterwards, you're getting in there and you're passing it all, and you're like, okay, with nothing scary. It's all good, apparently. So either
So
you
much of the
choose,
time, that's true.
yeah. So either you choose your fear and stay with that, and that's it. And apart from fear, you don't have anything, actually. Or you're okay, you're scared, but you're doing things better by yourself. You cannot delegate your fears. You cannot delegate your anxiety. With all the respect to the highly paid professional, still cannot. It's yours. Life is yours. Responsibility is yours. Maturity and all these successful things is yours. We spoke about parents, well, a lot, I guess, but the same relates to partners, business partners, life partners. We
Yeah.
might rely on them, and we want to, of course, but we are standalone human beings still. Those partners, they might be gone by all means, or you might want to be gone.
Mhm.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Another thing, how much you're attached and what can you do without them. And if the reply is nothing, then we're in trouble already.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see? And it's better
Abs-
to see what to do to not be there with these partners or without them. I don't think we can rely with our lives on anyone at all. Never.
Yeah. Certainly not
Other
relying on
people.
them for our happiness, our fulfillment. Like we can share our lives with other people, but we cannot outsource our
Mhm.
selves, our results to someone else.
Yeah, outsource is a good word. I mean, it's a good bonus. It's a very nice, incredibly valuable bonus to have a reliable partner in life, in business, in whatever. But it's a huge add-on. That's
Yes.
a nice thing, but that's not something that you cannot do stuff without.
I think especially with life partners that a lot of people do not see it that way. They see it as a basic requirement for their survival.
Well, oh, it was like that long ago. You see, yeah,
Especially for women, probably more so for women than for men.
I cannot judge us. Look at the history. Brain
Right.
is somewhere couple of hundreds years back with its development. We gotta really get used that things are not as our genes still believe. And
Yes, our
but
bodies
again,
still believe that we're in that pattern. I think I said this before on podcasts, but like this may be the first lifetime, like this may be the first genetic iteration of a woman in my line of
mhm,
ancestry that is not property,
mhm,
that can have her own bank account, that can own things. So our body, my body doesn't believe that. My body
mhm,
still thinks I'm property.
mhm.
Unless I'm moving that energy through me and healing those kind of thought patterns and beliefs.
And it's a hard job actually, because
Mm,
you're like controversing to yourself and your
yeah.
body. Come on, that's the most scary thing ever. And it is. It is
Mhm.
actually. It is. Especially in this kind of generation or something, you know. Yes, we're doing a hard job. Okay, so our daughter is gonna have less job to do. Let me put it like that. How about
Yeah.
that? I think that's a really nice piece of definition of success to allow our kids, for example, to not deal with the same stuff in the head that we've been dealing with, our moms been dealing with, and so forth. Because why to create this closed circle if we can be the first, for example, out of that? How
Mm,
about that? So our kids could be like, yeah, like could be dealing with some other stuff, but not the same at least.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They can have it's just maybe in a more expansive, exciting like positive, not exciting like dreadful.
Yeah, and I do believe our moms were a bit anxious because of inability to self-realize themselves, self-actualize themselves, to have options. Maybe they wanted to do a lot of other things, but they weren't available. For us, they are available. And if
Yes,
so, then I think that's a huge like necessity to just go and use them all.
I
Those options.
agree. And that's like why the work that you're doing is like helping women who even women who are thinking about uprooting their lives and moving to a different country, like it's available to us this time. Take the leap and get support while you're doing it to manage your anxiety, and just know that's part of it and you're going to be okay and it's still going to have beautiful gifts.
Mhm. Yeah, because that's also like generational anxiety loop, especially for ladies. I figured that for men, uh, well, that's also a case, but it works a little bit different. I do believe so. And
Yeah.
now with a lot of options, there's even like inability to choose sometimes. So let me stay anxious without ability to get out of that because I'm not sure what to choose. There's too many of them immediately and frequently, and our whole body and brain are operating with the old belief that we're gonna just stay on kitchen and that's it, or something like that, something primitive. But it's not. So it's all hard, honestly. It's
Mm-hmm.
like nothing out of what we've been talking about is easy. But okay, if we live in this world that is like that, well, let's get the best out of that. What I can say, if so, we're born this time, so probably we didn't. We gotta make it. We can make it. Well, for sure, we can make it actually. Otherwise, why wouldn't we face that lot of opportunities and options in order to go and try them? And I've never yet, I've heard anyone saying, oh, it's the most horrible thing ever happened to me all this moment. They say, yeah, it's tough, but look at me, if they made it
Yeah.
through. I'm
Yeah.
feeling those who are in progress, so this progress won't be too exhaustive. But still, if they switch their focus just a bit, at least to the nature, as in my case, that's already better than how they lived in previous cities and stuff like that. If this is what they choose, or this is what happened to them, at least you're getting another experience. And so your diversity of perception of things already extending. And that's a win. That's already achievement. That's already a next thing to deal with. That's already cool.
Absolutely.
Like now tell me, I lived in Manhattan for some time, and obviously I loved it and everything, but that it's gone already. You see, this conception of life that I thought would work perfectly for me, it does not anymore. I've been there a couple of months back, I guess. I looked at it and I thought like, well, obviously it's as fascinated as it used to. It changed a little, but still, but living here, oh my God, no way, no chance, no. How would I? That's to those visualization. We might visualize whatever and without even questioning whether it's going to work for us at that stage.
And
And that's
then
one
on the
thing.
outside, we might hear from people in our lives like, oh, you didn't decide to stay there forever. Well, then that's kind of a failure. See, you weren't thinking. And it's like, no, I had an amazing experience. I found
Mhm.
out that this wasn't quite the right fit, and I get to want more and I get to want different.
Yeah. How else can you actually know that till you try?
You can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And so whether failures are making any will sense as a term at all, that's the thing. Because I do believe a lot of our fears are like, I don't want to fail. So I don't want to try because it's going to be that tough and uncertain. And with all my anxiety, I'm going to most likely just fail. And that's it.
And the fear of failure, I mean, when we really look at it, it's more about the judgment that we perceive that we're going to receive from other people. It's not really about, oh, if I didn't get it right.
Mhm.
Like most of us, if I don't get something right, I just try again, right?
Well,
But if I'm not focused on other people's opinion of whether I failed or not and what they might say, then I'm not really that concerned.
you see, if being scared of external judgment, um, how about instead being scared of internal judgment? Yeah, like,
Well, yeah, a lot of that external judgment that we perceive, we are perceiving is going to happen. It hasn't even happened. Nobody's even said anything. We've decided what they're going to say. And then sometimes it does reflect in our external reality that they do end up saying that, but that's often a projection of that sort of energy outward. So,
yeah, it's
yeah.
not even a case till we pursue it. But what about internal commitments? How about not failing in front of the mirror?
Mhm.
How about making that internal judgment? Well, I'm not sure if judgment is the right word here. Validation, let's call it validation. How about internal validation is the main thing to measure our life and success in it? How about that? Because internal validation implies a lot, those commitments to ourselves. Because sometimes we kind of try harder if we committed to others, but we are the main people for ourselves, no?
That's right.
So how can we keep the commitment to others and make our own commitment to ourselves less in the priority? What is that at all?
Yeah.
That's there's something wrong with this, I think, like
Yes.
serious. And
Yeah.
if you commit to ourselves, like, to your very self, to how you're gonna make it, then
Yeah.
what else matters at all?
At the
And
end of our lives, who
mhm,
are we really always with?
mhm,
Who are we
mhm,
guaranteed to be with? Ourselves.
yeah. And to me, like if not pursuing own commitments, that isn't it end of life at all already?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it that? And that's like the worst self-sabotage ever, to pursue whatever external commitments, external validation, external something, because afterwards, you know what, these old people, I love them. I absolutely adore these people, like 80 plus, whatever. They're amazing. Yes, they live different life, different circumstances and everything, but none of those fears happened. And those that happened, honestly, they didn't really think much about them.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't make any sense, like in this example, like why to waste 30% of our life to stay anxious instead of going and getting things done, like seriously, yes, with fear, yes, with like doubts, with all of those the implications in this past, but still making it without measuring ourselves and our commitment by this external validation. Because now imagine external validation stopped existing, like that coffee that stopped mattering. And what? And we're like, okay, find ourselves pursuing whatever doesn't matter at all. And why to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a waste of our lives. I think that's a great place to leave off.
Mhm.
We are at about an hour and a half. So that was
Oh,
fun
wow.
and easy. Went fast.
Well, thank you so much. Look, we touched base a lot, literally with everything possible. And I appreciate you a lot. This was a very nice talk.
Yes, it's wonderful talking with you. Thank you for being on the podcast, and we'll be in touch.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.